After her fiancé traded her for an investor, she married the uncle, unaware he's a Korean Mafia CEO. The wine glass fell from Maya's hand in slow motion. It hit the white marble floor and exploded into 1,000 pieces, just like her heart. Through the small crack in the heavy wooden door, she watched something that would change her life forever. Her boyfriend Ethan sat across from an older woman with silver hair and cold eyes. The woman's name was Mrs. Park, and she was one of the richest people in the city. Between them on the desk was a stack of papers and a photograph of Maya. "It's very simple, Mr. Williams," Mrs. Park said in a voice that sounded like ice. "I will give you $30 million for your father's company. But you must do one thing for me. You must marry my daughter, Jessica. She is more appropriate for someone in your position." Maya held her breath. She waited for Ethan to say no. She waited for him to stand up and tell this woman that he loved Maya. They had been together for 4 years. For whole years. He had proposed to her 6 months ago. She was wearing his ring right now. But Ethan didn't say no. He didn't even pause to think. He picked up the pen, and without a single moment of doubt, he signed the papers. One signature. That's all it took to throw away for years like they meant nothing. Maya's legs felt weak. Her whole body started shaking. She had to leave. She had to get out of this house before they saw her. Before she fell apart completely. She turned to run, but she wasn't looking where she was going. She crashed straight into someone. Strong hands grabbed her arms to stop her from falling. "Careful there," a deep voice said. Maya looked up. The man in front of her was older, maybe in his early 50s, but he was one of the most handsome men she had ever seen. He had black hair with silver streaks, sharp cheekbones, and dark eyes that seemed to see right through her. He wore an expensive black suit that fit him perfectly. "I'm sorry," Maya whispered, trying to pull away. But he didn't let go immediately. "Leaving so soon?" the man asked. His voice had an accent. Korean, Maya thought. "I'm David Kim, Ethan's uncle." Maya froze. "I didn't know Ethan had an uncle. Most people don't." David's eyes moved to the door Maya had been watching through. Then he looked back at her tear-filled eyes. A small smile appeared on his face, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that meant trouble. "It seems we both have reasons to make the Williams family sorry for their choices." Maya stared at him, confused and hurt and angry all at once. "I have an offer for you," David said quietly. "But first, let me ask you something. Do you believe in revenge?" Before Maya could answer, before she could even process what was happening, David pulled out a business card and pressed it into her hand. "Think about it," he said. "When you're ready to make them regret everything, call me." Then he walked away, leaving Maya standing in the hallway with a broken heart and a mysterious business card. But what Maya didn't know, what she couldn't possibly know, was that David Kim wasn't just Ethan's uncle. He was one of the most dangerous men in 3 countries. And he had been waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel to support our growth, because this story is about to get wild. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Now let me tell you how this whole mess started. 3 months before that terrible night, Maya was happy. Really, truly happy. She was 26 years old and living her dream life in New York City. She owned her own company that designed beautiful buildings. Her company was small but successful. She had worked so hard to build it from nothing. And she had Ethan. Sweet, handsome Ethan Williams, who had swept her off her feet 4 years ago at a coffee shop. He had spilled his coffee on her laptop by accident, and then spent the whole afternoon apologizing and buying her a new one. They had talked for hours that day. She thought he was the one. Ethan came from a very rich family. His father, Robert Williams, owned Williams Industries, a huge company that built hotels and office buildings all over the country. Ethan worked for his father, learning how to run the business. At first, Maya thought Ethan's family would hate her. Maya was black, and the Williams family was white and very traditional. Her own mother had died when she was young, and her father had worked 3 jobs to put her through school. She didn't come from money. She didn't have fancy connections. But Ethan always told her it didn't matter. "I love you," he would say. "That's all that matters." His mother, Patricia Williams, was polite to Maya's face. But Maya noticed the little things. The way Patricia's smile never reached her eyes. The way she would mention Ethan's ex-girlfriends, all of them white and from rich families. The way she would ask Maya where she really came from, even though Maya was born in Brooklyn. Maya's best friend, Lisa, told her to be careful. Rich families like that don't change, Lisa warned. They smile and act nice, but they're always looking for someone more like them. Ethan is different, Maya insisted. He loves me. He proposed to me. We're getting married next spring. Lisa had hugged her tight. I hope you're right, girl. I really do. 3 months ago, everything started to change. Ethan began staying late at the office. He said his father's company was having money problems. They needed investors. Big investors. It's stressful, Ethan told Maya one night. He looked tired. Dad is worried we might lose everything. How can I help? Maya asked. She was good at business. She had some ideas. But Ethan just kissed her forehead. Don't worry about it. This is family business. We'll figure it out. That should have been the first warning sign. Ethan was shutting her out. Then came the phone calls. Late at night, Ethan's phone would ring, and he would leave the room to answer it. Maya tried not to be suspicious. She tried to trust him. One night, 2 months ago, Maya was cleaning Ethan's apartment bathroom. She found something in the trash can. A pregnancy test. Positive. Maya's blood turned cold. She wasn't pregnant. She was on birth control. So whose test was this? When she asked Ethan about it, he laughed it off. Oh, that's probably from the previous tenant, he said. I just moved into this place 6 months ago. The landlord probably didn't clean well. Maya wanted to believe him. She really did. So she pushed her doubts away. But then came the dinner 2 weeks ago. Ethan's family invited Maya to their mansion for what they called a small family gathering. Maya wore her best dress, a green one that matched her engagement ring. She spent an hour on her makeup. She wanted to look perfect. But when she arrived, Patricia Williams barely looked at her. Robert Williams, Ethan's father, talked to her like she was a child. He asked her simple questions about her little design business, in a voice that made it clear he thought it was just a hobby. Ethan's younger sister, Claire, was the only one who was kind. She whispered to Maya, "Don't let them get to you. They're like this with everyone." During dinner, Patricia made a comment that cut deep. You know, Ethan, she said sweetly, Jessica Park is back in town. Remember her? You two were so close in high school. Her mother tells me she just graduated from Harvard Business School. Such an accomplished young woman. Maya felt Ethan tense beside her. That's nice, Mom, he said shortly. I'm just saying, Patricia continued, smiling at Maya in a way that felt like a knife. Some people are just more suited for this life. They understand the expectations, the responsibilities. Maya kept her head high, but inside she was screaming. Now, standing outside that study door 2 months later, Maya finally understood what Patricia meant. Ethan had been invited by Mrs. Park, Jessica's mother, to discuss an investment opportunity. He had asked Maya to come early to help set up the house for the meeting. Play the good future daughter-in-law, he'd said with a smile. So Maya had arrived in her green dress, ready to help. But she realized she had forgotten her phone in the car. When she went back inside through the side door, she heard voices coming from Robert's study. The door was open just a crack, just enough to see inside, just enough to hear everything. Your father's company is dying, Mrs. Park was saying. He's made bad investments, bad choices. In 6 months, Williams Industries will be bankrupt unless someone helps you. I know, Ethan said quietly. My $30 million will save everything, Mrs. Park continued. Your family will be secure. You will be secure. But my investment comes with conditions. What conditions? Robert Williams asked. He was in the room too. My daughter Jessica will marry Ethan, Mrs. Park said simply. It's non-negotiable. The Williams family needs new blood. New connections. My family has business all over Asia. This marriage will make both our families stronger. Maya's heart started pounding. No, this couldn't be happening. What about Maya? Ethan asked. But his voice was weak. There was no fight in it. He was just asking to be polite. Robert Williams laughed. What about her? Son, be realistic. That girl is nice enough, but she doesn't bring anything to this family. No money. No connections. Jessica Park has both. Maya has a good heart, Ethan said, and for a moment Maya felt hope. But then he added, she'll understand. Eventually. She's a smart girl, Mrs. Park said, and her voice was cold. Give her some money. Apologize nicely. She'll move on. Women like her always do. She'll find another man to take care of her. Women like her. The words burned through Maya's chest. She knew exactly what Mrs. Park meant. It didn't matter that Maya had a master's degree. It didn't matter that she built her own successful company. It didn't matter that she was talented and smart. What mattered was that she was black. That her last name didn't open doors in their world. That she wasn't part of their rich, exclusive club. "Sign here, Ethan," Mrs. Park said, sliding papers across the desk. "End your engagement to Maya officially. The 30 million transfers to Williams Industries today. You'll announce your engagement to Jessica next month." Maya waited. She waited for Ethan to say no. To stand up. To fight for their love. To choose her over money. But Ethan picked up the pen. And he signed. The world tilted sideways. Maya grabbed the wall to keep from falling. For years. She had given him 4 years of her life. She had turned down a job in Paris to stay with him. She had dealt with his mother's rude comments. His father's dismissiveness. She had loved him with her whole heart. And he just traded her for $30 million like she was nothing. Something inside Maya broke. But it wasn't a sad breaking. It was a sharp breaking. Like ice turning into glass. Like softness turning into steel. She grabbed a wine glass from the hallway table and threw it on the floor as hard as she could. Crash! The sound echoed through the house. The voices in the study stopped immediately. Then she heard footsteps. Ethan appeared first. His face went completely white when he saw her. "Maya, I thought you were. When did I get here?" Maya finished for him. Her voice was cold. Colder than she knew she could sound. Early enough to hear everything. Mrs. Park appeared behind Ethan, looking annoyed. Robert Williams followed, looking like he'd been caught doing something bad. "Maya, let me explain," Ethan started. "Explain what?" Maya's voice got louder. "That you just sold me out for $30 million? That our 4 years together were worth less than a business deal. You're upset," Mrs. Park said in a calm voice. "That's understandable. But you're a smart woman. Surely you see this as best for everyone. I'm prepared to offer you money for your time." "Money?" Maya laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was bitter and angry. "You want to pay me like like I'm some kind of escort you're dismissing?" "That's not what she meant," Robert Williams cut in. "But be reasonable, Maya. You and Ethan come from different worlds. This was always going to happen eventually." "Different worlds," Maya repeated. "You mean because you don't have the connections our family needs," Robert interrupted quickly. "Don't make this about race. This is about business." "Right," Maya said. "Business. How could I forget?" She looked at Ethan, really looked at him. This man she thought she knew. This man she thought loved her. "I understand perfectly now." She pulled the engagement ring off her finger. 3 carats. Princess cut. It had felt like a promise when he gave it to her. Now it just felt like a cage. She threw it at Ethan's feet. It bounced once and rolled under a chair. "I understand that you're a coward," Maya said clearly. "That your love had conditions. That I wasted 4 years on a man with no spine." She turned to walk away. "You'll regret this," Mrs. Park called after her. Her voice was threatening now. "You have no idea who you're dealing with. I can make sure you never work in this city again." Maya stopped. She looked back over her shoulder. "Try it," she said. "Unlike your future son-in-law, I built my success by myself. I don't need family money or connections. I have something you people never had to develop. Actual talent." Then she walked out with her head held high. But her hands were shaking. Her whole body was shaking. The October night was freezing. The wind cut through her dress like knives. She had parked 3 blocks away, and now she regretted wearing high heels. But she kept walking. She wouldn't cry. Not yet. Not where they could see her. "Miss Carter." A deep voice came from the shadows near the garden gate. Maya spun around, her keys held between her fingers like a weapon. "Who's there?" A man stepped into the light from the garden lamps. It was David Kim, the man from earlier. Ethan's uncle. Up close, he was even more handsome. Tall, with broad shoulders. His black hair had silver streaks that made him look distinguished instead of old. His face had sharp angles and smooth skin. He wore a charcoal gray suit that probably cost more than Maya's car. He moved like a dancer. Smooth and graceful. Like someone who had trained in martial arts for many years. Or someone who was used to danger. "Forgive me for startling you," he said. His English was perfect, but he had a Korean accent that made every word sound important. "My name is David Kim. Though I believe you already know I'm related to Ethan." Maya lowered her keys a little, but didn't relax. "I didn't know Ethan had an uncle." "He doesn't know about me either," David said with a slight smile. It wasn't a nice smile. It was knowing. Dangerous. "His father and I have been apart for 30 years. I only recently came back to America. And you just happened to be hiding in the garden during their investor meeting? Maya asked suspiciously. I don't hide, Miss Carter. I observe. He moved closer. Maya could smell his cologne. Something expensive. Cedar and bergamot. I came hoping to speak with my brother. Instead, I witnessed quite the interesting negotiation. And your rather magnificent exit. Were you spying on them? On them? No. His dark eyes met hers. They were intense. Focused. I was watching you. Warning bells should have been ringing in Maya's head. A strange man watching her. Appearing from nowhere. This was dangerous. But something in the way he looked at her wasn't creepy. He was studying her. Like she was a painting, and he was trying to figure out her true value. That's weird, Maya said, but she didn't move away. It's honest, David replied. Weird would be pretending this is a coincidence. He tilted his head slightly. You have fire in you. I watched you discover your world was ending, and you didn't cry. You didn't beg. You shattered and reformed into something sharper in seconds. That's rare. What do you want, Mr. Kim? David, please. He reached into his jacket. Maya tensed, but he only pulled out a business card. Heavy, expensive paper with silver embossed letters. I want to offer you an opportunity. I'm not interested in whatever. Revenge, he said simply. I'm offering you revenge. And a way to take everything from the people who just tried to throw you away like garbage. Now Maya was listening. David continued. My nephew just traded you for $30 million and a well-connected bride. Imagine his face when you walk back into his world. Not as the discarded fiancé, but as something untouchable. Someone with more power than his father ever dreamed of. And how would I do that? Maya asked. David's smile widened. For the first time, Maya saw something dangerous in it. Something that made her pulse quicken. Not from fear. From excitement. Marry me instead. Maya stared at David Kim like he had just grown a second head. You're insane, she said. Possibly, David agreed, but he didn't look embarrassed at all. He looked completely calm. But I'm also very serious. Hear me out before you refuse. I don't even know you. Maya's voice came out louder than she meant it to. You didn't know my nephew was willing to sell you out until an hour ago, David said quietly. At least I'm being honest about my intentions from the start. That hit hard. Maya felt the truth of it in her chest. David was right. She had thought she knew Ethan. For years, and she hadn't known him at all. 5 minutes, David said, gesturing to a bench near the garden fountain. Give me 5 minutes to explain. If you're not interested after that, I'll disappear. You'll never see me again. I promise. Maya knew she should walk away. She should get in her car, drive home, eat ice cream, and cry like a normal person dealing with a broken engagement. But she had never been normal. And the dark promise in David's voice when he said revenge was too tempting to ignore. She sat down on the bench. David sat beside her, keeping a respectful distance between them. Up close, Maya could see the fine lines at the corners of his eyes. The silver in his hair caught the moonlight. He wasn't just handsome. He was distinguished. Polished. Like expensive whiskey in a crystal glass. I'll start with the truth, David said. I've been aware of you for 2 years, Miss Carter. 2 years. Alarm shot through Maya. That's stalking. Not stalking. Research. There's a difference. He pulled out his phone and showed her an article. Forbes magazine. The headline read, 30 under 30, Maya Carter revolutionizes sustainable urban design. Maya remembered that article. It had been the proudest moment of her career. Your company, Carter Designs, changed how people think about building in cities, David continued. You won the Young Architect Award last year. You were the youngest Black woman ever to receive it. Your TED Talk about creating beautiful spaces for everyone, not just rich people, has 20 million views. He looked at her with something like admiration. You're remarkable, and you've been wasting yourself on a man who couldn't see your worth. Maya's defenses wavered a little. He had done his homework. He knew things about her that Ethan had never bothered to learn. That still doesn't explain why you want to marry a stranger, Maya said. 2 reasons, David said. His expression got hard. First, my brother. Robert and I have history. Bad history. He's the reason I left America 30 years ago. What did he do? David was quiet for a moment. He betrayed me. Stole what was mine. Built his empire on my losses. I've spent 3 decades building my own power, waiting for the right moment to remind him that the Williams family legacy belongs to me as much as him. That sounds like a you problem, Maya said. David laughed. It was a rich, genuine sound. Fair enough. But here's where it becomes your solution. My brother values two things above all else: bloodline and appearance. Imagine his horror when his estranged brother, the one he's pretended doesn't exist for 30 years, returns. And not alone. Married to the woman his son just discarded. Married to someone he told was inappropriate for the family. Maya felt her heart beat faster. The picture David was painting was delicious. Ethan's face when he found out. Robert's shock. Patricia's rage. So I'd be your revenge prop, Maya said. You'd be my wife, David corrected. Legally. Publicly. Permanently. And in return, you'd gain access to everything the Williams family has. Money. Connections. Power. He leaned forward. I own 14 legitimate businesses across the US and Korea, Miss Carter. Hotels. Restaurants. Real estate. Tech companies. I'm worth approximately $1.8 billion. Maya's breath caught. Billion. With AB. As my wife, David continued, you'd have resources to expand your firm globally. You'd have the Kim name. My version of it. The version that actually means something in Korea. The version that makes the Williams family look like small-time players. And what would you get besides making your brother angry? Maya asked. David's eyes darkened. For a moment, she saw something raw beneath his polished surface. Something that made him look almost vulnerable. You, he said simply. I would get you. The honesty of it stole Maya's breath. I'm 26, she said. You're like 50-something. 51. Birthdays in December. He didn't look away. If age is a deal breaker, I understand. But I'm not looking for arm candy or a trophy, Miss Carter. I'm looking for a partner. An equal. Someone brilliant enough to match me. Strong enough to survive in my world. And angry enough to want what I'm offering. What exactly is your world? Maya asked carefully. Complicated, David said. Some of my businesses are perfectly legal. Others operate in gray areas. I have connections that span from Seoul to Los Angeles. Friends in very high places and very low ones. He paused. I'm not a good man by traditional standards. Are you saying you're a criminal? I'm saying I'm practical. I do what needs to be done to protect what's mine and destroy what threatens me. He met her eyes directly. I would never ask you to get involved in the darker aspects of my work. But I won't lie about who I am either. A criminal. Maybe mafia. Definitely dangerous. This man was offering her everything she'd just lost and more. But at what cost? This is crazy, Maya whispered. Yes. We don't know each other. We will. Marriage is a legal contract, David interrupted gently. At its core, that's all it is. A legal agreement between two people. We can define the terms however we want. If you want separate bedrooms, you'll have one. If you want this to be purely business, it will be. I won't force myself on you or expect anything you're not willing to give. Then what do you expect? Publicly play the role. Be my wife at events. At family gatherings. In front of my brother. Help me integrate back into American society with a brilliant, accomplished woman by my side. He paused. Privately, I expect honesty. Loyalty. And time. Time for what? To see if this could become something real. His voice softened. I know you don't know me. I know this seems insane. But I've watched you from afar for 2 years. I've seen your strength. Your talent. Your grace. I'm not proposing a real marriage today. I'm proposing the possibility of one. A partnership that might grow into something more if we're both willing. Maya's mind was racing. This was absolutely insane. Marrying a stranger. A self-admitted criminal. Someone 25 years older. Just for revenge. But was it really just revenge? He was offering her power. Resources. Protection. A chance to build something bigger than she ever dreamed. And he was being honest about it. More honest than Ethan had ever been. Why should I trust you? Maya asked. You shouldn't, David said simply. Not yet. Trust is earned. But I can give you something right now that my nephew never did. A choice. Real agency. I'm not asking you to give up who you are or what you want. I'm asking you to take what you deserve and make them all choke on their regret. God help her, but the idea was intoxicating. Inside the mansion, Maya could see lights. She could imagine Ethan in there, probably celebrating his profitable betrayal with his family and Mrs. Park. Probably relieved that the difficult conversation with Maya was over. Probably already planning his new life with Jessica. He thought he won. He thought he could just discard her and move on. I need time to think, Maya said finally. Of course. David stood up and handed her the business card again. Take a week. Research me. You'll find things that frighten you, I'm sure. Investigate everything. Ask questions. Then call me with your answer. He started to walk away, then paused and looked back. For what it's worth, Miss Carter. Maya, he said her first name like it was something precious. I think you deserve someone who sees you. All of you. Not just the parts that are convenient or profitable. His smile was gentle. Genuine. Ethan was a fool. But his loss could be our beginning. Then he disappeared into the shadows like he'd never been there at all. Maya sat alone in the garden for a long time. The night got colder. Her dress wasn't warm enough. But she barely noticed. She turned the business card over in her hands. David Kim. CEO, Kim Global Enterprises. A phone number embossed in silver. One Google search would tell her if he was telling the truth. One phone call would change her life forever. She pulled out her phone and stared at it. Behind her, the mansion glowed with warm light. Ethan was in there. The man who promised to love her forever and then threw her away for money. Maya thought about her mother, who died too young. Her father, who worked himself to death to give her opportunities. All the time she'd been told she wasn't good enough. Wasn't the right fit. Wasn't appropriate. She thought about Ethan's signature on those papers. How he didn't even hesitate. And she thought about David Kim's dark eyes and dangerous smile, and the word that kept echoing in her mind. Revenge. Maya opened her phone and started typing David's name into the search bar. Maya spent the next 5 days doing what she did best. Research. And what she found about David Kim made her blood run cold and hot at the same time. The man wasn't exaggerating about his wealth or his power. His business empire was massive. Hotels in Seoul, Los Angeles, and New York. A tech company that specialized in cybersecurity. Restaurants ranging from fancy Michelin star places to popular chains. Real estate all over 3 continents. The legitimate businesses alone made him a billionaire. But then there were the rumors. Maya found whispers on Korean business forums about David's connections. Articles that mentioned him in passing related to organized crime, though never with concrete proof. A newspaper from Seoul, 15 years old, linked him to the takedown of a rival gang. But it positioned him as a witness, not a criminal. He was careful. Whatever illegal things he was involved in, he kept them clean enough to avoid jail, but visible enough to maintain fear and respect. One interview stood out. A Korean business magazine from 5 years ago included a photo of David at a charity gala. He looked devastating in a tuxedo, even in a photograph. The interviewer had asked about his personal life. I was married once very young, David had said. She died in an accident 30 years ago. Since then, I devoted myself to building rather than loving. Perhaps that was a mistake. Perhaps it's never too late to try again. A widower. That explained the loneliness Maya had sensed beneath his polished exterior. She dug deeper into the Williams family history. Robert Williams had indeed had a brother. Older by 2 years. The brothers had been business partners in their 20s, running a small import-export business. Then suddenly, David left the country. 6 months later, Robert acquired a huge amount of money and expanded the business into what became Williams Industries. The timeline was suspicious. Very suspicious. What had Robert done to his own brother? On the 6th day, Ethan called. Maya stared at her phone as his name flashed on the screen. Part of her wanted to ignore it, but a bigger part wanted to hear what excuse he could possibly offer. She answered. What? Maya. Thank God. Ethan sounded stressed. Panicked even. I've been trying to reach you for days. We need to talk. We have nothing to talk about, Maya said coldly. Please just listen. His voice cracked. It sounded real, but Maya didn't trust it anymore. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I was pressured by my father, by Mrs. Park. I wasn't thinking straight. But I've been miserable without you. I told them I can't go through with marrying Jessica. I want you back. Maya laughed. It was sharp and bitter. You want me back. I love you. I've always loved you. The money doesn't matter. Except it did matter 6 days ago. It mattered enough for you to sign away 4 years of our relationship without blinking. I panicked. Ethan said desperately. But I've come to my senses now. Baby, please. We can get past this. I'll make it up to you. I swear. Let me guess, Maya said. Her voice was ice. Mrs. Park pulled her investment when you tried to back out. And Jessica wasn't as sweet as they promised. So now you're crawling back to your backup plan. Silence on the other end. Then, it's not like that. It's exactly like that. Maya felt nothing. No heartbreak. No longing. Just disgust. You traded me like I was property, Ethan. You showed me exactly what I'm worth to you. Did you really think a few days and some pretty words would make me forget? Maya, be reasonable. I'm being extremely reasonable. I'm choosing not to destroy your life the way you tried to destroy mine. That's generous, considering. What's that supposed to mean? It means stay away from me. Don't call. Don't text. Don't show up at my office. We're done. We've been done since the moment you picked up that pen. She hung up. Immediately, her phone buzzed with texts. Apologies. Promises. Desperate pleas. I'll leave Jessica. I'll tell my father to go to hell. Please give me another chance. I can't live without you. Maya blocked his number and felt lighter than she had in days. That evening, she called the number on David's card. He answered on the second ring. Maya. Just her name, but the way he said it, like it was something precious, made her stomach flutter. I have questions, Maya said. I have answers. His voice was warm. Welcoming. Did you steal from your brother, or did he steal from you? A pause. Then, direct and honest, he stole from me. My wife's life insurance policy, to be specific. She died in a car accident. $2 million. Robert was the executor of my will at the time. While I was destroyed with grief, he transferred the money to himself. Built his empire with my tragedy. The bitterness in David's voice was old but still sharp. Why didn't you sue him? Maya asked. I tried. He had better lawyers and had covered his tracks well enough to make it my word against his. So I left. Went to Korea, to our mother's family. Started over. A breath. And I built something bigger than he could ever dream of. But the betrayal, that never heals. Maya's heart ached for him. She understood betrayal now. Understood how it changed you. Are you actually Mafia? She asked. David laughed. Such an Italian word for a Korean organization. But yes, essentially. I have connections to what Americans would call organized crime. I don't traffic drugs or people. I have lines I won't cross. But I control information. Territories. Certain lucrative operations that exist in the gray areas of the law. I protect my people and eliminate threats. He paused. Does that frighten you? It should, Maya admitted. But I think I'm too angry to be frightened right now. Anger is useful, David said. It clarifies things. It shows you what really matters. Ethan called me today, Maya said. Did he? David's voice went cold. What did my idiot nephew want? Me back. Apparently, his new deal fell through. Of course it did, David said with satisfaction. Mrs. Park is ruthless. The moment he showed weakness, she would have withdrawn everything. And her daughter has a reputation for being difficult. A pause. What did you tell him? To never contact me again. Good. The approval in his voice made Maya smile despite everything. You deserve far better than him. Like a 51-year-old with mafia connections I've known for less than a week? 51. Birthdays in December, remember? She could hear his smile. And yes, exactly like that. Maya sat on her couch, looking at the city lights through her window. This is insane. You've mentioned that, David said with amusement. Multiple times now. If I did this, Maya said slowly. If I actually agreed to marry you, what would it look like? The logistics. We'd marry quickly. Courthouse or small ceremony, whichever you prefer. I have a penthouse in Manhattan. 5 bedrooms, completely renovated. You'd have your own space. Your own freedom. We'd appear together at necessary social functions. I'd introduce you to my business associates. You'd help me navigate reintegrating into American high society. And your brother? Ethan. We'd make sure they knew, David said. His voice held dark promise. Perhaps a casual mention at the right charity event. Or a wedding announcement in the society pages. However you want to deliver the news that you've upgraded dramatically. Maya smiled despite herself. You're very confident. I'm very certain of what I want, David said quietly. And what I want is a partnership with you. However that evolves. His voice softened even more. I won't pressure you for romance or intimacy, Maya. If all this ever is a business arrangement and friendship, I'll be content with that. But if it becomes more, I'll be grateful for every moment. Why me? Maya whispered. Really, you could have anyone. I could have many people, David agreed. But I want someone extraordinary. Someone who builds instead of just inheriting. Someone who fights instead of just accepting. Someone who looks like a goddess and thinks like a warrior. He paused. I want you. I've wanted you since I saw you speak at that architecture conference in Seoul 2 years ago. You were brilliant, Fierce. You talked about building spaces that honor all people, not just the wealthy. And I thought, that's someone I could spend my life learning from. Maya's breath caught in her throat. You were there? At my soul lecture. Front row, David confirmed. 2 years. He'd been watching. Waiting. It should have felt creepy, but somehow it felt more like patience. Like he'd been waiting for the right moment. The right circumstances. Or maybe Maya was just trying to rationalize what she wanted to do anyway. If I say yes, Maya said slowly, I have conditions. Name them. I keep my business completely separate from yours. I won't launder money or be involved in anything illegal. Agreed. Your firm is yours. I wouldn't dream of tainting it. I want a prenup that protects both of us, but ensures I'm not left with nothing if this goes wrong. I'll have my lawyers draft something generous. You should have your own attorney review it. I need honesty. Always. I just survived 4 years of lies. If you're going to do something that affects me, I need to know. You'll have it. Complete transparency about anything that involves you. And time, Maya said. Like you said, time to see if this could be real. No pressure. No expectations. Just possibility. All the time you need, David promised. Maya closed her eyes. She took a deep breath. And she jumped off the cliff. Okay, she said. Okay. I'll marry you, David Kim. The silence on the other end lasted 3 heartbeats. Then his voice came through, rough with emotion. You won't regret this. I better not, Maya said fiercely. Because if you betray me like your nephew did, there's not a corner of this earth where you'll be able to hide. David laughed, delighted. Threatening me already. See, this is why we'll work. When should we make this official? David asked, his voice warm through the phone. Soon, Maya said. Her heart was pounding. Before I lose my nerve. Tomorrow. Courthouse. Noon. Perfect. I'll handle all the arrangements. Just bring yourself and whatever you want to wear. I'll handle my own dress, thanks, Maya said. She wasn't going to let him control everything, even if he was a billionaire. Then I'll handle everything else, David said softly. Maya, yeah. Thank you for taking a chance on a dangerous old man. You're not that old, Maya said, surprising herself with the flirtation in her voice. Old enough to know when something precious falls into my life, David replied. I won't waste it. After they hung up, Maya sat in the dark for a long time. Then she went to her closet and started planning what she'd wear to her wedding. And what she'd say when Ethan inevitably found out. The next morning, Maya woke up feeling strangely calm. She went to a boutique downtown and found a dress. Cream silk, tea-length, with delicate lace at the collar. Simple but elegant. Not a wedding dress exactly, but not casual either. A middle ground. Like everything about this arrangement. She did her makeup carefully. Not too much. Just enough to look polished. Beautiful. She wanted to look like herself, not like she was trying too hard. At 11:45, Maya stood outside the courthouse. Her hands were shaking. She was really doing this. Marrying a stranger. A dangerous stranger with mafia connections and a vendetta against his own family. This was insane. But then David appeared at the top of the courthouse steps, and Maya's breath caught. He wore a perfectly tailored navy suit with a silver tie. His black hair was styled perfectly, the silver streaks catching the sunlight. He looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine. But what made Maya's heart skip wasn't how handsome he was. It was the expression on his face when he saw her. Wonder. Pure, unguarded wonder. You look breathtaking, David said as Maya climbed the steps toward him. You clean up pretty well yourself, Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. David offered his arm, and Maya took it. His arm was solid, strong. She could feel the muscles beneath his suit jacket. I have witnesses inside, David said. My attorney and my head of security. I hope that's all right. We need 2 people. That's fine, Maya said. I didn't really have anyone to invite anyway. The words came out more bitter than she intended. Her best friend Lisa was in London for work. Her father was dead. She had co-workers, but how would she explain this? Hey, come watch me marry a man I met a week ago for revenge. David stopped walking and turned to face her. He covered her hand with his, warm and gentle. After today, he said seriously, you'll have me. And everyone I know becomes available to you. You'll never lack for people again, Maya. I promise you that. Something about the conviction in his voice made her believe him. The ceremony was short and surreal. The judge looked bored until David slipped him what was probably a very generous tip for expediting the paperwork. Then the judge became much more enthusiastic about pronouncing them husband and wife. You may kiss your bride, the judge said with a smile. David looked at Maya, a question in his dark eyes. He was asking permission, giving her a choice even now. Maya made a split-second decision. She leaned up and pressed her lips to his. It was supposed to be quick, performative, just for show. But the moment their mouths met, electricity shot through Maya's entire body. David's lips were soft and warm. He tasted like coffee and mint and something uniquely him. His hand came up to cup her cheek, gentle but possessive, and for 3 perfect heartbeats, the world disappeared. There was only David. Only this kiss. Only the feeling of coming home to a place she'd never been before. When they broke apart, David's eyes were dark and intense. Well, he said softly, that was unexpected. Consider it sealing the deal, Maya said, trying to sound casual even though her heart was racing. Then it's the best business transaction I've ever made. They signed papers in a small office. Maya Carter became Maya Kim, so easily it was almost anticlimactic. Just a signature, and her entire life changed direction. Outside, a car was waiting. Not a limousine, too showy, but a sleek black Mercedes with a driver who stood at attention when he saw David. This is Marcus, David introduced them. He's been with me for 15 years. Marcus, my wife Maya. Marcus smiled warmly. He was a big black man with kind eyes and a scar on his cheek. Welcome to the family, ma'am. Congratulations. The word family settled strangely in Maya's chest. She had a family now. A husband. Even if it was all pretend, it felt real in this moment. They drove to David's penthouse in comfortable silence. His hand rested near hers on the leather seat. Close but not touching. Respecting boundaries. The building was in Tribeca. Exclusive and elegant. They rode a private elevator to the top floor, and when David opened the door, Maya couldn't stop her gasp. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered views of the entire city. The design was modern but warm. Exposed brick, hardwood floors, carefully chosen art on the walls. The furniture was clearly expensive but lived in. Comfortable. This wasn't a showroom. This was a home. The master bedroom is through there, David said, pointing to one side of the penthouse. But I've prepared a suite for you on the opposite side. Your own bedroom, bathroom, walk-in closet, and a small sitting room if you want complete privacy. Where will you sleep? Maya asked. The guest room, unless you prefer I take the master and you. No, Maya interrupted. This is your home. I'm not kicking you out of your own bedroom. Our home now, David corrected gently. And I want you comfortable. I'll take the suite, Maya decided. For now. For now, David repeated, and something in his tone suggested he was filing that phrase away for later. Are you hungry? He asked. I can cook, or we can order something. You cook? Maya was surprised. David smiled. I've lived alone for 30 years, Maya. I learned to take care of myself. Though I'll warn you, I'm better with Korean food than American. I love Korean food, Maya admitted. Then let me make us something. A wedding dinner. Just the two of us. Maya followed him to the kitchen. It was a chef's dream, with marble counters and professional-grade appliances. David moved through the space with easy confidence, pulling out ingredients, starting water boiling. Can I help? Maya asked. Can you chop vegetables? I can manage that. They worked side by side, and it felt normal. Domestic. Like they'd done this 100 times before instead of being strangers who'd gotten married an hour ago. Tell me about your current projects, David said as he sliced beef with practiced precision. So Maya did. She told him about the community center she was designing in Brooklyn, about her plans for affordable housing that was still beautiful and dignified, about her dream of proving that good architecture should be for everyone, not just the wealthy. David listened, really listened. He asked intelligent questions, offered insights from his real estate experience. You think differently than most architects, he observed. You design for people, not for awards. Awards are nice, Maya admitted. But they're not why I do this. I grew up in a neighborhood where buildings were ugly because no one thought we deserved beauty, where parks were neglected because we didn't matter. I want to prove that good design should be accessible to everyone. Your parents must be proud, David said. A shadow crossed Maya's face. My mom died when I was 16. Cancer. My dad. He tried his best, but he was never the same after. He died 5 years ago. Heart attack. I'm sorry, David said quietly. He covered her hand with his briefly. Loss is difficult. You understand. Your wife. Yes. David was quiet for a moment. Eunice was young. 23. We'd been married 2 years. A drunk driver ran a red light. He set down his knife. Robert was supposed to help me. Instead, he saw an opportunity. That's when I learned that blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. Is that why you never remarried? Maya asked softly. Partially. Also because I was building an empire and becoming someone dangerous. That's not a life you inflict on someone you love. He looked at her, his gaze intense. But you're different. You're choosing this with full knowledge of who I am. Am I though? Maya challenged. I know the broad strokes, but I don't really know you. Then ask me anything tonight, David said. Complete honesty. Whatever you want to know. So Maya asked. And David answered. She learned that he'd been a street fighter in Korea before working his way into legitimate business. That he'd killed 3 men in his life, all in self-defense, but killed nonetheless. That he'd built his organization on loyalty and fear in equal measure. That he owned judges, politicians, and police in 2 countries. He didn't sugarcoat it. Didn't make excuses. I'm not a good man, David said again. But I'm a fair one. I protect what's mine, and I honor my word. You're mine now, Maya. That means I'll protect you with everything I have. And I'll never lie to you. What if I can't handle it? Maya whispered. What if your world is too dark for me? Then I'll shield you from it, David promised. You'll never have to touch the darkness if you don't want to. You can live your life. Build your buildings. Be brilliant. I'll handle the shadows. They ate the dinner he made. Bulgogi, kimchi, rice, and soup. It was delicious, and Maya told him so. My mother's recipes, David said with a small smile. She died 10 years ago. Cancer, like your mother. I'm sorry, Maya said. We share similar wounds, David observed. Perhaps that's why this feels less strange than it should. After dinner, they sat on the couch with wine, watching the city lights twinkle like stars. What happens now? Maya asked. Do we announce this or? That's up to you, David said. We can go public immediately, or we can wait. Though I'd like to tell my brother soon. The anticipation of his reaction is half the fun. Maya laughed despite everything. You really hate him. I really do, David agreed. He took everything from me and never even apologized. Never acknowledged it. And he raised his son to be just as heartless. He looked at Maya. But in a way, I should thank him. If Ethan hadn't been a fool, you and I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Maya considered that. It was true. If Ethan had chosen her, she'd still be planning a wedding to a man who didn't truly value her. She'd still be dealing with his family's subtle racism and condescension. She'd still be making herself smaller to fit into their world. Now she was married to a billionaire who saw her worth, who wanted to give her the world, who looked at her like she was precious. There's a charity gala next weekend, David said. Very exclusive. All of New York's elite will be there, including almost certainly the Williams family. He turned to her. Would you like to make our debut? Maya thought about Ethan's face when he saw her. Robert's shock. Patricia's horror. She smiled. It was sharp and full of anticipation. Yes, she said. Let's show them what they lost. Subscribe to this channel to support our growth. What do you think is going to happen at that gala? Drop your predictions in the comments. Do you think Ethan will lose his mind? Will Robert try to cause trouble? And most importantly, are Maya and David actually falling for each other? Or is this still just business? Let me know your thoughts.